Launchpad Nation, Casey Blair here with our head brewer, Paul Mahoney.
Hey guys.
Talk about this week's Launchpad Liftoff. We do have two new beers coming out today. They're on tap. You can come by and grab. One is our Make It Rain Session IPA, and the other one is our Redstone Marzen. Paul, a little bit about the Session IPA and then about the Marzen.
So the Make It Rain is named after a Rocket Lab launch that happened a few months ago. We decided to do something because they're based out of New Zealand, so it has all Nelson Sauvin and Galaxy hops, so some of those Southern Hemisphere tropical style hops. Comes in at 4.9%, so it's very, very crushable. It's just a really fun beer. And then
Clearly.
Yeah, it is really, really good. I've been drinking it all morning. It's a breakfast beer.
Yes.
And then the Redstone Marzen, named after the Redstone missions back in the Mercury program, was getting itself together. We decided to do some nice, clean Oktoberfest style lager, and we brewed this at the peak of COVID. Kind of as we just started, we were trying to figure out what to do with our tanks. We wanted to make a nice big lager, something really fun and enjoyable, very, very bready, biscuity. So that's come out today finally. It's been in tanks for like 5 months.
And explain why, with lagers, why you want that time in a tank.
So with lagers, the byproduct of their yeast strain generally emits some sulfur notes. So by giving it time on a little bit of its own yeast, those yeast cells will actually, the dead ones, generally reabsorb those off flavors. So to give it time, if you have a horizontal tank, it's a lot faster. That's why we're able to pump out our lagers a little bit quicker than normal. But usually it's about 2 to 4 months for any standard lager for just conditioning time alone. So it's just to really get that flavor, to make it clean, crisp, and bright, and get those off flavors out of it.
Hence why they take a little bit longer. So
yeah.
We are going to get a little behind the curtain here. Great American Beer Fest is right around the corner. No, nobody gets to go to it this year, but we will be broadcasting the award ceremony live that Friday, October 16th, here at the brewery.
Yep.
Be a part of that. We're going to have a lot of our beers. We may have a promotion coming up with that, so stay tuned, hearing more news about that. Us and maybe some other breweries getting involved. But talk about your thought process going into GABF. One, talk about what beers you were thinking about entering. We got to enter 10 this year, so we won't go through all 10, but just some, his thought process too. And then two, talk about what it just takes getting those ready and how we have to enter them.
Okay, so I'll give you a couple beers that we're definitely putting in. I mean, Peacekeeper's kind of been our staple. We've won medals with it before, so it's kind of one we're always going to put in. Until we don't win for like 3 years in a row, then we'll probably maybe retire putting it in competition. But who knows? We'll see how that goes. So that's definitely in this year. We're just made some coffee for the Cuban Missile Crisis with West Coast Roasting Company. We upped the coffee level because we got some feedback last year from that beer being in competition. It was good. It made it past the first round. It just needed a little more, I think, to divide it from other beers on the table. And then probably the other one I really would talk about is our pumpkin patty, because that's something that's coming out soon. We did a barrel-aged version of it again this year. We haven't done that in a couple of years. We're putting that in the pumpkin category, and that's the reason why we put that beer in, is because that's kind of what got this brewery started, with Dave doing a pumpkin competition thing at his house. Big pumpkin festival, and he made a beer, and that's kind of the whole story of how this brewery got put together. Started because of a pumpkin beer. So we're putting another one in this year because we do have a lot more entries. So we'll go over the other ones later on.
Down the road.
But the thought process is a little bit of what's our best beers, what really does well for us that we know we can make again. So we do have some beers we've never made before that are coming out, because we know kind of how to tweak certain things. But more along the lines of just trying to find categories that we shine in and beer styles that we know we're really good at making. Then we go through and see if they're still holding up, because we register these beers back in June. So as we're tasting them, as we get to cut down time, which is this week, we see if we can make changes last minute, which now we can at this point. We were able last week. But if a beer isn't holding up, then we kick it off and put another beer in that we think is just as good to be on the floor. Or not on the floor, but in competition.
And we bottle them up. It's a process of going and bottling up, and we're fortunate being here in Colorado is the fact we're able to drive our entries up to the Brewers Association, as opposed to a lot of people who have to ship them. So we'll benefit that.
It's a huge thing right now, especially just making sure we can make sure they're cold while we bottle them. We usually bottle 6. We're supposed to give 4 for competition. What we'd like to do is hold 2 back. That way we can try those beers basically
around
the week of the competition when they're judging. So we know how those beers have held up. Do we do a good job bottling? How's the carbonation? So it's more of like mentally preparing ourselves, like, yeah, that beer has no shot, it didn't hold up well. Or we have beers that do hold up really well, and we're excited about them. So, but the fact we do get to drive it up to Louisville the BA headquarters up there for their shipping aspect. Really saves us a lot of time.
Yeah, and it helps us.
And anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
And anxiety.
You don't worry about that shipping there. So lots going on. We'll have more info about Great American Beer Fest as we get closer. A lot of fun things that we're going to be doing with it. You guys are going to be involved. We're going to make it very interactive with you guys. We will be here for the award ceremony. And Paul, Dave, and myself will be here during the award ceremony. We can talk through why this would win with that. And not just us, just talking about all of our friends in the brewing industry. Should be a great night. Food trucks this week, got a full lineup of food trucks. It's going to be a great week for food. We got a rum chata tonight. They're here with the Peruvian food.
Great food.
Tuesday's little big sandwich truck. Wednesday's one of our favorites, Noki Aloha. Hesher Barbecue Thursday. Noki back on Friday. Cruisin' Eats Saturday, and then Sunday we follow up with Laziz Lebanese foods. If you haven't had any of them, they're all fantastic trucks and they really take care of us. So come on by, check out those new beers. Other beers start flowing through. We got a lot coming down the line that we want to be a part of.
A lot of
including beer. If you guys come here and drink those beers, that pumpkin beer gets on that much faster. So I know 99% of you out there are excited about that. I probably constitute the one.
He's not a pumpkin beer fan. But also something for GABF that we're talking about doing, which is probably the most exciting part for everybody else but me, is we're talking about hooking myself up to a Bluetooth heart rate monitor. Last year I took my heart rate before they even started announcing categories as a resting heart rate of 130. But we're going to try to have it stream on the TVs here at Launchpad. And like Casey said, that's October 16th. And it's going to start at 5 o'clock. They're going to start doing the award ceremony, and we'll have it live streaming here.
It should be a lot of fun. But until then, we got a lot of stuff coming on at the pad. Come down, check out our beers. One of us is usually here. Ask some questions, talk to us, share a pint. But hey, until the next time, raise your glass.